Oh, you are entertaining as hell. I guys wish you could see what goes on behind the scenes here when that music is playing. Ethan thoroughly enjoys it, and I get a chuckle every time. Jules is running late tonight, but Ethan and I are here, ready to talk all things. Episode 8, Sick with Emotion. What do you
Great
think?
title. Yeah, great title. A big shock, obviously, at the end of the
Yes,
episode with
big
the
time.
double tribal and straight
Yeah,
off as well. So,
yeah.
Jules and I are sitting there like, what just
Yeah,
happened?
so you were at the live watch party. How was that?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was so cool. Hi, Chloe. Getting to meet awesome people like Chloe and some of the other players and crew and cast. So,
I know, I was
yeah,
serious FOMO. I was like,
I know.
watching.
I'm very lucky. I'm young and have zero responsibility, and I don't
Yeah,
do
yeah,
anything with
so
my
it's
life. So
disposable income, mate.
it's right. Who needs to save money? Just go to Melbourne. So
Yeah.
it was great, and I enjoyed the episode. Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. I was super shocked too. See, yeah, CK wasn't there either, so you know.
I was really hoping CK would be there, and then someone mentioned he lives in Adelaide, so I was like, oh,
Yes,
okay,
he's not a Melburnian.
sad.
So
It's okay.
yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched live along with you guys because it's like once I realized that you were down there too, I was like, no, I need to be across what's happening from the
Yeah.
get go. So I didn't have any more FOMO and miss out on some group chats. Really enjoyed it. I think it was just I think the word I kept sending to you guys was wow,
Yeah.
wow. I was like my face.
I
like what was that?
know. So yeah, it was a well done episode, and again with the challenges, simple but effective. Nothing. You
Yes.
don't need something flashy. Something else that's simple as tug of war, but tug of war's stupid. Okay, so only do that once, and then
Well, when you only play tug of war once for 10 seconds, then it's an
yeah.
issue.
And you saw how long it took them to complete the fish puzzle as well. So
Yes.
yeah.
So we see
But
the
anyway,
resurrection of that. All right.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
let's dive in. Jules should be here any minute. She was due to get home at 9, so we're just waiting on her. We can start. So we start the episode. Tash is excited. She loved being in charge of that vote, and you could just tell she's just like giddy. You know, you come off a successful tribal council, you're like, shit, yeah, I pulled off that move. How great. I know I had it after episode 1. I'm sure you had it after episode 2 of Sydney. Well, no, you wouldn't have.
No,
No, not you.
No
I had
idea
it.
what's going on. Leah did. Leah was probably
Leah had
excited.
that, absolutely. Yeah. But you come off tribal council, you pulled off a move, and you're just like, yes, especially if it's one that you had a great say in.
Right.
Like that feeling is like
that must be nice. Yeah. You're great.
well, you can see it through Tash. She's just elated. She's so excited about it.
Yeah, and as she should be, like your majority comes out on top, and as she explained, she voted off, helped push the Max vote. You know, she was the one who I think we said.
Yeah, she was the one who threw it out there first. Yep.
Yeah, and as she said, he came second in the challenge. It was a physical threat. He did the slide puzzle. So it was a puzzle threat, and ultimately a really good first boot in regards to being good
all rounder, like in terms
challenges.
Of
yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Smart. It was a smart vote because, like, when we said to Max last week, if he had won, he would have just gotten a streak.
I reckon. Yeah.
All right. And then we see Laurel being confused about the Dale vote. There's a few people confused about Brady's wayward Dale vote.
Right. Yep.
The one and only.
Yes.
And then we see Chloe being mad that it was Max. She was like, I'm just mad about it. She just
mad about it. Yeah.
moment.
Laurel's like, do you need like a moment to yourself? And Chloe's like, no, like I'm just need to put myself together. Game phase.
Yeah.
Emotional. Yeah. And there was a little cheeky convo just before that, I think, where it was Tash, Caitlin, and Dale. And it was basically Dale was trying to say something and then he just couldn't get a word in. And then Caitlin started talking and he was like, okay, I see a pause in the conversation. He starts to talk and then Caitlin just continues talking. And that happened like 3 times. And I was just watching it, laughing at poor Dale just trying to get a word in and he just couldn't get a word in.
He's just surrounded by these women who have strong opinions and you've just got to wait your turn.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait your turn. Pick your moments.
Yeah, and Chris looking for idols. There was a little bit of Chris looking for idols.
Yeah, so a little bit. Well, is it? There's a. We start the episode. Be more interesting, right? So you
Be more
just
interesting.
here.
It's been 5 fucking minutes. Let us ease into it. Jeez, okay, let's shit on Annabelle for a second. She was awful when I met her. Oh my god. No.
Oh, what an awful person.
God. Be more interesting.
So we see Laurel, she can see that Tash and Caitlin are getting close. So she wants to blindside Tash so she can free up Caitlin. We get a brilliant quote from her here. I want to be the mitochondria of the cell and I want them all to go on me like an amoeba.
Yeah. I don't actually know what that means, but I get the idea. It makes sense, even though I don't know the science around it. So yeah. But I love that.
And then we see Dale and Chloe definitively did not want to go to Rocks. They both say that to each other. But Laura, you said it. What the fuck is an amoeba? Your quote. It's not mine. It's your quote.
What is going on with these players?
Rocks. So I mean, I get that. Like that, everybody else would have been up for it at that point in time had they gone to Rocks. Like the 2 people who had been voted for would have been safe. And then everyone else is. Right.
I mean, CK seemed like the only one who really wanted to go to Rocks and sort of just pushing that agenda on the fellow OG Yellow Alliance plus potentially Dale. But as you said, Dale and Chloe were not going to Rocks. So I don't think Brady would have gone to Rocks either. No. But, I mean, you never know.
Yeah. I think CK and Max are the only 2 who are willing to do that at that point.
Yeah.
But we can touch
base ask
CK a little bit. We see Brady being annoyed by the vote. He's sick with emotion. He just starts to get very emotional here. Bless his cotton socks.
Poor Brady.
He's been to one. Hi, Luke.
This was Australian. I'm screen. What a legend.
Bless you, legend. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we see poor Brady, you know, same with CK, like everything's going great on the OG Yellow Tribe when you've won every challenge. And then you finally go to Tribal, which CK's been itching for like a day and a half, and then nothing goes his way. He's like, all right, my ally's gone. I'm open to anyone. Someone just please pull me along for the ride. And it was a complete like 180 for CK's game, being very direct, very assertive, you know, trying to get the numbers together, and instead it was just, okay, fuck it. I'm screwed. Someone just use me as a number.
Yeah, so we see the scramble for him later on after immunity. Yeah. We just got a little bit of Brady here. He thinks he's the next vote for sure. He explains his vote for Dale because he thought that he was the flipper. Curious to know like whether he thought he had numbers to do that vote, or he was just doing as a throwaway vote to make Dale feel insecure.
I think
because it was one and only.
Yeah, I think what Brady said to Chloe or to someone else at some point in the episode, I can't remember, is that he thought the others were going to vote out Dale, and that's why he jumped on the Dale vote. He thought the Red Alliance were going to vote Dale.
Right, okay.
So I think that's why he also decided Dale to just solidify it.
Yeah, Brady was certain the Reds would vote Dale. Okay.
Thank you, CK. Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. Well, I mean, at this point, like where we're going, there was a big discussion about that last week, that Dale was, you know, CK didn't believe it, but they were trying to sell that as here. And here is our 3rd member. She's here. Hello.
Jules. Hi, Jules.
Thank you for joining.
Sorry I'm late. Had to feed my children.
Oh, good. We're just talking about Brady getting his heart broken all episode.
I know, I was watching.
Just a poor little emotional.
Poor Brady. I was there watching and I was like, oh, I just want to hug him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so we're up to the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
We see Dale having to read out his advantage or disadvantage.
And
try and give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Well, hilarious, and it says congratulations. Like,
congratulations, you suck.
Yeah, it should just say "fuck you." Here's your disadvantage. Like, go sit out by yourself. Yeah.
And then he tries to gift it to somebody, which is even more hilarious. That was
I like that.
I mean, points for trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The sass of it was fabulous. I enjoyed
this
that.
is like, I don't think so.
Yeah, because they'd have to accept it, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to accept that at that point in time. So it's a sectioned out challenge. Tossing beanbags, first 4 to land 2, move on. Crossing the beam with 3 times with the ball and a wooden disc.
I think it was just as many times you had to. So like, I think you could take all 3 balls over at once, but it was too difficult, so they just did one at a time, right?
No, I thought they had to do multiple trips.
Because I saw Kate, she started, because she was first, and she started with all 3 on her balance disc thingy. Right. And I think that, they fell off, and she decided, I'm just going to do one at a time because that's easier.
You're correct.
Right. So you could do all 3, but it was too hard, so you just do one at a time.
And then first 2 across, move on, and they do the fire puzzle, which we saw earlier in the season that nobody got the chance to.
Yeah, I'm glad they brought that back.
So Kate lands the first 2, so she moves on first. She gets a great head start in front of everybody. Kate, balance beam, and then Caitlin moves on, and then I think and then it's Chloe. They're the only 3 that make the beam.
Right.
And is Jules frozen, looking like a serial killer?
Yeah, she's like. Oh, Jules, you here?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
These freeze frames aren't doing you justice, Jules. Oh, that's a nice one. That's a cute little profile pic, that one I'm playing. Are you here, Jules? Are you here?
I'm sorry.
I'm going to watch this back later and be like, what?
Oh, it's going to be...
There we go.
That is my resting bitch face.
You're like...
It was very serious. It was very serial killer-esque. It was pretty funny.
I'm always serious looking when I'm trying to read.
No, the editing was a little slightly out here because it was like there were 3 on the beam. Then we flash back to Brady and Tash talking. We flash forward to people back on the beam and everyone's still behind them competing. So I was very confused for a few seconds here about what was happening in the challenge. But in that split second, then we're at Kate and Caitlin on the puzzle. So there was a slight not.
I didn't even notice that
discombobulation in the edit. And then she's. Are you there? Are you with us?
Jules, are you good? What's going on?
I'm just cutting in and out. I am.
You want to reset?
Normally, I take a bit of time to warm up, but I think that'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Cool. Here we go. This is a fun piece of information. The challenge took so long that John even managed to go to the toilet after he was eliminated. So was it the beam that took a really long time, or was it the puzzle? Or was it this?
Yeah, I'd say probably the puzzle. Puzzle probably took quite a while.
Because in episode 2, they made it look like that puzzle was going to be so quick.
Yes.
It was not.
No.
I know, hey, yeah. It was like, all right, tug of war. This puzzle was like the one that we had in Sydney Survivor where it was for ages 3 and plus, and they outline it, and it's got pretty colors and rainbows, and all you have to do is put the correct piece in the designated spot. It's numbered and colored and tells you exactly where to put it. So, yeah, no, it wasn't like that at all, but...
No, well, this is a real life Survivor puzzle.
Right.
This is one that exists in the real Survivor.
I didn't buy it for Kmart for $8.
It's not an $8 puzzle from Kmart, as for our budgeted Sydney season. That comes from 3 seasons deep and a bit of a larger budget.
Yeah.
All right. So Kate first checks in incorrectly because she doesn't have it, but then she pulls out the win after an adjustment. Yay, Kate. She is the sandbag fairy. I thought that was a cute nickname for herself.
Yeah, I like that. And then she gets the immunity, has a confessional. She's like, I know why people get jacked off this immunity idol. Like, they love having it. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. We do see, like, before we get that confessional from her, it looks like CK goes straight over to Brady and looks like he's trying to, like, talk to him, like, while they're doing the celebratory music. We don't hear what they're talking about. And it's like it's very intense. And it's kind of the first we see of the CK scramble.
Okay, yeah. So Jules, what did you think of
the challenge is over?
Yes.
Jules, what did you think of the challenge overall?
I liked it. I like it when there's like stages of a challenge. Usually though, when there's stages, it's like, all right, first 4, and then they stop it until the next bit starts. But as it was, I liked it. I was a bit confused by, like, with the belt, they've got their hand on the disc, but they had their hands over it, like
the thumb.
Yeah. And then, like, Chloe was holding it with 2 hands like this. So that would, like, give her a bit of advantage, surely, because it means the ball can't roll off. I don't know. I'm useless at balance, so, you know, I would have sucked at that challenge.
Well, yeah, so those balance beams have proved difficult for 2 challenges already. So to see them again would have been like, fuck me.
Yeah, I'm not fucking doing
I think
this
with
again.
balance, like, your best bet is just to sprint across it as fast as you can and you make it.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, you've got, it makes it harder because you've got a ball to balance while you're doing it.
Yeah, it's not just your own body balance. You've got to, like, something to tighten in, whereas normally you, like, try to spread wide to, like, balance your whole body out.
Yeah. So I agree. Try and just get through it as fast as you can. The slower you go, just you're going to fall off.
All right. Laurel wants to go up to Tash and expose Caitlin playing in the middle, which, again, is Laurel's just looking for all the other non-obvious votes. Still Queen of Chaos.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a Laurel confessional I had just after the Kate confessional. I feel like this is another good time to go against the grain and vote off Tash. She's the biggest leader that people are going to, and it exposes Caitlin.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a great read.
Yeah, I mean, we've been commenting about how well Tash is playing, so I think it is a really good read.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a brilliant read here. And then we see Brady and Laurel talking about the Girls Alliance, like how they think the girls are teaming up, which is
always a concern.
Always a concern.
Sneaky girls.
How many times has it actually been pulled off? Twice? Come on, guys, grow up.
Yeah, not many times. Hey,
but that was threatening enough to make all men scared. All right, so then we go. Where am I up to? The Girls Alliance. Then we get Laurel and CK not wanting to target each other because they know that they'll be next up. They both want to keep each other in the game again. Smart, 2 big players, knowing that if one big player goes, the next one will likely be the next biggest target on the board.
Yeah, and often if we see 2 players going head to head, like constantly for a while, if one goes out, the other normally follows suit. So if I was those 2, I'd want to keep the other around for a bit.
Yeah.
Not that CK has any agency to do that.
No.
Yeah, and it's hard because we see Laurel talk about that 4-4 split where Laurel says, if I get CK, Brady, and Chloe, I've got the 4 that I need, and then basically I can just lie and convince the others that I'll vote with them, and that way our 4 is sort of the majority. Split the votes or whatever. So if Brady and CK and Chloe could have gotten on board with that, they could have formed a new majority. But as we quickly see, Brady and CK just I feel like they have no option to throw each other under the bus. It's either you or it's me.
The very little trust they had is gone. It's like after that last vote. It's just not. There's no repairing it, unfortunately.
No, you can't cross CK. As soon as you do, you're dead.
Well,
I love that. I'm all here for that sort of energy.
So CK refines the fake idol.
Just so
from
funny.
his unlimited pockets.
Yeah, which one is it in? Like, he's got 3 jackets on.
I've got Annabelle's jacket, and I've got another jacket.
There we go. The minute the Max Trouble finished, Brady and CK's went ham on each other. Which,
I mean, their relationship was pretty shaky anyway.
Yes. They were 4 of convenience, not
of like friendship, and
they both sort of had the knife behind their back, just ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And you see that in their confessionals, like later on, they're both like, I wanted you for so long.
Yeah, it's
the basic consensus of what they're saying about each other. And then we see CK pledge his allegiance to Kate if she can keep the heat off him in the next tribal. But she seems unsure about whether she has the agency to do that. And if I feel like she does, I just don't think it's something she wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with Kate's supposed to be like in the middle. She's not a target. People want to keep her around. They like her, like even though she's a threat. Like we see say like she's at the end, she deserves to win. I feel like if that was something she wanted to do, she could have. Yeah. But she questions her agency here because she doesn't really want to keep CK around.
Yeah, and look, I don't really blame her. I think someone else said before, like CK is running around talking to everyone. It's hard to pull someone in and make them your number when they're so desperate to stay in the game that they're willing to go and talk with anyone. If CK said maybe something like, let's work together, I won't talk to anyone, you've got my vote, I'm sticking with you, and like really putting all his eggs in one basket and just saying I'm loyal to you, that's it. Maybe, but that person
he does say that,
rebel.
but he continues the rounds.
Yeah, and continue the rounds, as you should. Like,
but the other thing for Kate is, she might have the agency to be able to save him, but if she does that puts her on the radar. Correct. I think right now she's playing very well. No one's people are aware of her, but there are other threats around. If she can make a move like that happen, then suddenly, oh, hang on, Kate's a threat to win, and then she puts herself in danger.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. I mean, we see that what happened with Tash. Because Tash was, Tash has put a neck out there. Max was she instigated that vote. She's our second vote for tonight. So, and then we get the massive idol hunt. He's in trees. He's down low.
I love that.
Everything. I always enjoy a good idol hunt. And then we see another poor Brady confessional. He is only trust Chloe. He's spiraling here. He's convinced it's him. CK, you'll get your turn. Just you only have 10 minutes before you can move on the pot.
Too many goats wanted me gone. He's
sticking with that. What goats? Like seriously?
He's about to come on. We can talk to it when he's here. Let's not.
Yeah. No, I think he's just stirring.
Look, there are a lot of middle players currently. There are middle players, and CK is one out the forefront, dictating to everybody what
doesn't make them goats though.
No. There's not beating around the bush. He thinks they're goats because they're not playing as hard as he is. They're playing their own game, right? So Brady, bless him, he's spiraling.
Yeah.
Spiraling. Like, convinced he's the next vote. I mean, he does cop votes, so rightfully he's a little paranoid, but it's really like just...
Yeah, Brady's spiraling right now. He's freaking out. He's got no idea what to do. He also has an idol in that confessional. He's talking about, how do I use the idol? Do I just play it straight away and just be safe and just get rid of it? Or do I not play it and try and save it for another one? Brady's freaking out, and this is his second tribal, which is so crazy to think about, how this poor OG Yellow, you think you're in such an advantage to not go to tribal pre-merge, and then all these yellows are scrambling to just get through their first or their second tribal. So
the reds are like, whatever, we've done this 100 times.
Yeah.
And yellow's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Dullins. CK is all out of strategies at this point. He's like, I've got nothing. Whoever wants me, I'm with them. Like, I only have nothing left for anybody. Chloe was not scrambling. Bless her. Good for you. Queen, calm and collected. But everybody else is like...
Chloe's doing her own thing. She don't give a fuck. I love the energy.
The paranoia here is at an all-time high. Like, it just seems like everybody is just like... Because, I mean, and we also see a lot of names come out of tribal. Like, yes, we see a main few, but, like, these tribal councils are chaotic. Like, they're just because the paranoia is so high.
And Kate sums it up really well in her confessional, saying, everyone's more spooked than usual. There's no decoy. Like, there's certain people you can't talk to because you're just straight up lying. Like there's so many names out there that this would just be chaos.
Yes, 100%. And then we're at tribal.
Yes. Let's talk about tribal.
I like to hear from here because Liz asked Kate how it feels like to have immunity, and she was like, she likes having it. Obviously, she feels good, but she feels a little bit left out because like it doesn't have the same urgency as everybody else because she's like sitting pretty. You know what I mean? So like for her, the sense of it is just like,
Yeah, and it's true. There are some times where it's almost more important to have that urgency, to have those hard conversations and to really see who is actually on your side and feel like, okay, if I don't do enough to stay in the game right now, I could get votes, or potentially if this doesn't go my way, it could backfire in the next couple of tribals. It'll be me. So having that immunity necklace, Kate seems to just be a little bit more relaxed, which is always nice, but it does mean that you're not really running around and really trying to, I guess, be at the forefront of things. And does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We hear from Dale. He's nervous because he has gotten votes in nearly every tribal council he's gone to and felt like a sitting duck. Every tribal, yeah.
Apologies.
And every tribal he's gone to, and he feels like a sitting duck today because he couldn't compete in immunity, but it's the one where no one came for him. He didn't get a vote at this tribal council, which is interesting.
I don't think Dale will get a vote at any tribal council, including the final tribal council. Sorry, Dale. That's just at this point. I'm sorry, Dale. I just can't see it happening.
You think they're just going to take him as a goat through?
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it. What did you say?
He doesn't think that Dale's going to get a vote from here, including at the final tribal council.
I mean,
so
I
from
can
here
see that.
for the rest of the game, Dale's name won't be written down. So
sorry, Dale, but it's true.
Dale,
I can see it.
There's so many big personalities,
Yeah.
And just as Brady said, he's not assertive enough. Brady was talking about himself, but I also see that about Dale. Dale, I see his point of view. I see why in the max vote he basically flipped and went with the OG Reds and Burrell and voted out Max. But I don't see with the players that are left in the game, Dale being more outspoken or even be willing to create moves and really sort of make his way into the end, having done things. So unfortunately,
yeah, we haven't seen a lot of strategy or like mastermind behind anything he's done so far. He seems to just be floating. Now we're going to get into a lot of everything that Sika had to say, and I figure we should bring him in.
I'm so excited.
Here. He's just
bring him in.
You ready?
Drum roll.
You want to give me a thumbs up? Are you ready? Hello.
Hello.
There he is.
This is John. This is the banana I stole from John. This is delicious, John. You guys didn't get that in the edit. You guys didn't get this in the edit, but it was very pivotal for John and I's relationship, or lack thereof.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, we got those comments last week. He was very upset.
What happened was at the feast, you'd see him moving plates around, and largely I was trying to see if anything was under any of them, like a flu or whatever. And he had the banana one in front of him, and I'm like, "Oh, I would love a banana," and just took his plate. And John was just soul destroyed by losing his banana. And then 5 minutes later, I was like, I feel sick. Does anyone want a banana? And John hated me for that moment for the rest of the game. And then I didn't speak to him really until after I wrote his name down at the max vote and immediately walked straight up to him and Laurel. This wasn't in the edit. And I was like, "Hi, I'm CK. I just wrote down your name. I'm keen to work together." That was my introduction to John.
That would have gone down well.
All right. Natasha, we're doing tribal debrief now because CK had so much to say at tribal. We're just going to jump straight in and then we're going to flip back.
You just call her Natasha.
Everything else. I don't know.
Yeah, who's Natasha? What's going on?
That's what it says. It says Natasha here. All right, I read her name. Excuse me.
That's like calling me Julia. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Who?
Well, you haven't. It says Jules there, right? I'm just
Exactly.
reading. Shush. Okay, so CK, you go off at this tribal council. Like you're like Chloe this, Brady that. They're shifty. These like if you could have said motherfuckers, you would have. Like you just went off. You went ham at this tribal council. What was behind that? Like I mean, I know you're out there to play hard, but this is next level for you.
Well, it's not in the edit, but right after the tribal, I approached Chloe to ask if she had voted for Dale, and look, to be honest, I probably just thought she was had stuffed it up, by mistake. And she was very riddly about the answer. She's like, "Oh," and started accusing me of potentially having voted Dale. And I was like, "What? Like that is the most ludicrous. As if I was ever gonna not vote in a way that would result in Max getting thrown out." Voted out. So then she was like, "I'm emotional, don't talk to me." And I'm like, "Okay, that's useless, I'm done with you." And then Brady I was super sus on. And I was like, "Look, at the end of the day, I can't trust one of these people, and I know they're a pair, so I can't trust either of them anymore." And so then I spent the next I knew it was gonna be between Brady and I. Like that's just the next logical vote for any of the people in the game to make. And so my best effort was to try and throw Brady under the bus as much as possible with the group. And what I keep saying, the goats are out to get me. But at this point in the game, right, and we can have a discussion on who's a goat and what's not. But at this point in the game, you had big, obvious targets like myself, Laurel, Kate, and Tash.
Yes.
And then you had 5 others, look, that were more under the radar. Now, Brady was probably the most middle of the group in that. And I was trying to perhaps bring him up into our group, which he deserves to be in because he was playing a very strong game. But a lot of people didn't recognize how good of a game he was playing until this point, perhaps. I know you guys have recognized it the whole way through the edit.
It's his social game that he's downplaying what a threat he is.
Yeah, and we get to see his confessionals.
Yeah,
you get to see the confessionals. I think he puts up this very sort of uncomfortable, I'm not comfortable with myself vibe, but I actually think that's like it's a bit, he has it, but it's not really him. Like he's pretty comfortable in his own skin, and he was trying to come across a bit more awkward than he actually is, and we're actually doing a very good job of it. So
interesting.
The fact was that and then you had Dale, who Ethan says will get 0 votes for the rest of the game. You had Chloe, who her confessionals have been very good, but the perception of her out there, and she's just said in the comments she was playing like a ditz, right? And in terms of actual strategy and discussion, that was the case. But in her confessionals, you can see she had more going on, but that wasn't obvious to anyone else that was out there, maybe other than Brady. And then moving forward, you had John and Caitlin. And I know you guys had a whole thing last week about me calling John in particular a goat. The fact was, from our perspective,
from your perspective, yes,
from being on yellow, all we saw was Laurel make a tribe, flip on the tribe, decimate the tribe. And that was the messages that were coming through on the little bit of Matt chat. So for us, we presumed that really John and Caitlin were just Laurel's numbers and had just done what they would. Of course, they'd go with him. They're trying to survive. Like, of course, they're going to flip with him. Like, they're just doing what they need to do. Now, I appreciate they're both more than that. But from our perspective at the time, that was how they were being perceived by the other players. Caitlin seemed a little bit more assertive in her play, but they were seen in a similar way.
Yeah. No, I get that. I can totally see why that was your perspective. And again, we're seeing everything from our end. So we obviously have different aspects to how you are in such a fast-paced game right there at the time.
Yeah. So, CK, you included Kate in that sort of perception of playing like a bigger game. I personally can't really see it. I think at the merge, we see Kate sort of being in the middle of both potential alliances and not really knowing where she's going to go. What was your perspective about Kate while you're still in the game?
Look, that's a good question. You color everything with your own lens. And I had like the biggest amount of respect for Kate, meeting her in the game. I thought that she was an incredibly strong woman, and an incredibly strong person. And I had just and very intelligent and very capable, and I had just the most respect for her. Like, other than Max and Annabelle, she was the person I by far respected the most in the whole game. And I thought
do you think part of that came from getting such great feedback from Annabelle? Like, did Annabelle give you a lot of that? Did you know much about Kate from Annabelle?
No. And Annabelle probably was trying to basically tell me that, look, she won't work with you, CK, so don't try it. And I still tried it nonetheless. And I actually used the coat a little bit to build some bonds there. If you want to ask the coat story, how I got the coat, but I did use it for a game. So anyway, I saw her as a very, very, very capable player, and I was wanting to play with people that I thought were capable. Now, everyone here was capable in their own ways, to be honest. But at the time, in the heat of the game, I thought that everyone was a muppet, but me and a select few others.
Yeah, and do you think that limited your gameplay potential by maybe not being keeping the options open and potentially working with people that maybe you wouldn't normally work with?
Oh yeah, I played horribly. Like, let's get real. This is an atrocious game for me. Like, I'm a big character; it's lots of fun, but the funny thing is I'm a very different person to who I was 2 years ago. And it's because of actually this game. Like, I learned so much about myself. I used to think that I've always been pretty self-aware, but I think I lacked the humility of it, the humor of it, the self-deprecation that I needed. I think I was too self-serious. Not able to. I believed I could see other people's perceptions, but I don't think I really could. I was way too much of a game bot. I didn't see the point of the social connections, other than the people that just like I immediately clicked with. And this is not to say that I didn't try. See, you can't see a lot in the edit because I did build a rapport with people. It wasn't as it was more like game move. Like, I always had moves in mind, so I think people can see through that a bit. And even just playing. Like, I've played a lot of org since then. I've gone from being pretty much going out the same place in my first org to winning and to coming, second, losing by a vote in like an All-Stars one. And the first time I played orgs, I'm like, surely I'm not going to spend all this time talking social game like on a text forum. But that's what people do, and that's how you actually win. You actually build relationships with these people through the month long, because you play for like a month. So there's plenty of time to do it. And I didn't understand that until I did it. And then only once I understood how you build these connections, and then you can actually make the moves. I thought it's like you make the moves and find the people, but you got to find the people and make the moves. But I did do a lot of work on people's my relationships with people, and I think we could perhaps circle back to the Rosie interview and what was mentioned there. So Rosie and I didn't click at all. And I didn't actually put a lot of work into my relationship with Rosie. And I did ask Annabelle at the end of, later on or whatever, saying, on reflection, I didn't really put a lot of work in there, but I just got the vibe she was not into me, so I didn't waste my time. And it's limited time. And I said to Annabelle, do you think that was a mistake? Should I have invested the time? And she's like, no, it wasn't a mistake. You would have been wasting your time. So I knew that Rosie wasn't my biggest fan. And that's fine. No one needs to be everyone's fan of everyone. And when you asked her who she wanted to see go, I knew her answer would be me. And when you asked her why, I would have hoped she'd just say something like, he's a bit of a douchebag and I didn't like his vibe, And that would have been fine. But the comment that she made about being like fake woke effectively did hurt a bit. I must say, that's an important part of my values and has been since, I was a left-wing activist in university where I really sort of found myself. And so it's a big part of who I am. But on reflection, I was pretty upset about it, but I started to think about what I was doing in that tribal council. And actually I had a conversation with John, because he was in Europe, so it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, but at least someone was around to talk to me. And free psychiatric advice, so psychological advice as well, so that's not so bad. And what I remember doing was, I was going out of my way to make it pretty clear how progressive I am.
Right.
And that was because I'd walked in, looking how I looked, deliberately dressed in a particular way, seeing that the entire cast were like 20-something, clearly very progressive people. And I'm there looking like the guy that bullied them all in high school, right? And I'm like, fuck. Like, I need to quickly make it aware to these people that I was also bullied in high school, and I am, I may be a straight white male who's older, but I have empathy, and I have tried to understand everyone's circumstances that come from different demographics to me. And so I was probably aggressively overt in communicating that, and I can see why Rosie therefore saw that as being fake when it wasn't. I understand what I was doing and how she saw that. Now, obviously, for the people that I managed to connect with, like Annabelle and like Laurel,
you got two best friends out of playing, so you obviously did something right.
Yeah.
Like Annabelle and Laurel, they see it that way, because I was equally having individual conversations with them where they could see who I genuinely was. But for Rosie, as I said, I didn't make much of an effort. And to be honest, it really dawned on me. You might have seen my comments when she's been in episodes throughout the season. I'm like, I had no idea she was such a hippie. Like, and all the way she is, I had no idea about that. So the fact that I didn't even know that means I spent almost zero time actually getting to know her on the game, even though we spent a night together. So that's on me as well. But I don't have a negative feeling about, what she said, because I understand on reflection. It hurt at the time, but on reflection, I understand why she thought that. And I think she's entitled to that opinion based on the circumstances she was presented with. She's not someone I've spent any time with after the game, so she's basing it purely on the game. So no hard feelings there for me. I do understand where she was coming from.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And self-reflection for everybody is important. So even you've done, 2 years of self-reflecting in another couple of weeks since then. So that's always handy for everybody. And I know we wanted to address that, so thank you for addressing that, because I know that we talked at length about it too after the pod, and I spoke about it again on the next one. So thank you for addressing that. We do appreciate you giving us your perspective.
Okay, so the coach story, almost one of the producers wanted to kick me off the show. Kick me off in the middle of the game. Imagine what that'd be like. So after Annabelle goes, we're at that tribal, and it's starting to rain at that one, and challenge, and I couldn't find my rain jacket thing. And when they did the tribe swap, they sort of went and got everyone's stuff and brought it to the other camp. And I couldn't find my rain jacket, and now it was starting to rain. And I was convinced that these Muppets who were organizing this Melbourne Survivor had taken my jacket and put it with the other group. And now I'm wet and I'm annoyed. So I see Annabelle and I run to her and I'm like, hey, can I have your jacket? And she gives it to me. Now, JP was not happy about this. And as a producer, I respect his call, because I shouldn't have been allowed to have the jacket, right? Because I actually used it for game purposes. And I'll talk about that in a moment. So if I was the producer, I wouldn't have let me have the jacket either, right? But then he got up in my face and I got even more up in his face about how I'm keeping the jacket.
Was this filmed?
No.
This is hilarious.
I'm keeping this jacket because you guys lost mine. I've had enough. Walk away. He's very upset that I've raised my voice at him, and he goes to Vince and Liz, and he's like, "I want CK off." He yelled at me, and Liz and Vince were like, "Harden the fuck up." He just yelled at you, we're not kicking him off the show. But then I immediately took that jacket and I went right to Kate and was like, see, Annabelle and I are actually friends. Because I don't think she believed it until that moment. But there's no way she gives me her jacket when she's out of the game if she's not actually my friend. So, I think that gave me a little bit of goodwill for Kate, because before that, Kate was basically looking at Annabelle at the challenges and just rolling her eyes in respect to me. And going he's actually my number one in the game. But cool.
Natalie, could I have your jacket? Hilarious.
Yeah, I just took the jacket. I didn't ask. But I asked Annabelle, but I didn't ask JP. That's jacket game.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Let's get that footage. That's hilarious. So we're still at Tribal Council before we deep dive bit further back into your game. We have not even voted out yet at this point. We're just seeing you and Chloe go at it. You're throwing Brady under the bus hard. We see your big lawyer personality come out. You're just going on and on and on about trying to save yourself, which credit to you. You were not going down without a fight, even though you knew it was likely to go your way. And then we get to the vote. Laurel is annoyed because it's a boring vote. You play your fake idol.
So
your secondary fake idol.
Yeah. So look, I was doing everything I could before that, but I knew the last thing I could do was try and wrangle votes. So Laurel came to me. It was actually a pretty awakening moment for me. Laurel came to me and tapped me on the shoulder, and then had a chat and said, "I don't want you to go. Like, I don't want you to go here." And I just realized that was the first time someone actually tapped me on the shoulder to have a conversation in 2 days. So I realized the error of my way somewhat there. And I realized it was the first time Laurel was telling me the truth. And I could legitimately believe that she wanted to play with me at that point. And I said, well, we've got to get the numbers together. And I said the same conversation. I had a conversation with Kate and Tash. Kate and Tash were the two people that I was referring to, that if the person they told me to vote for went down, I was with them. And I just left it with them. Like, I'm like, if these guys can save me, they can. But like, if they can't or don't want to, then there's nothing I can do. So now I'm just going to hunt for idol for like the entire time I could. I put the wheels in motion. These are the only ones that are possibly going to save me. Kate, Kat, Laurel. So I can't do anything myself. I'll often go for idols. And then I found, after a while, I got very frustrated, and I found that fake idol that we'd planted all the way back, right?
Yeah.
And I just grabbed something. It was actually in the same place Brady found his idol. I found that later. But it's where he said he found the flint. Anyway, so I pulled it out of there, and then I realized, okay, that actually finding this idol was a mistake because it's not a real idol, and they're probably going to split votes between me and Brady. But if they think I have an idol, then they'll put more votes on me. Like, that's just the better move. So I'm like, I don't want them to think I have an idol when I don't actually have one. So then I revealed that I found that fake idol, then went searching again, still couldn't find it. Then I did find this like snake in my jacket, and I don't know where it came from. Like, it wasn't there.
Like a toy snake?
Yeah. It may, maybe my kids put it in there, but I've been in my pockets all 2 days. I never found it, and it was just there. And I'm like, maybe this is like supreme production interference. I'm going to play this.
Making up for the screaming match.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, hey, I'm a big character. Sometimes production wants to keep them in. I don't know the sort of show they're on here. I'm just going to play this thing. It was like Adam Klein, it was like nothing, but I was not going to go out with not having played it just in case.
Just in case, yeah, fair. You play that, and then obviously Caitlin plays her voodoo idol. Tell us your thoughts on the voodoo idol. I mean, I know
it's
you, but
I've been dying to hear your thoughts on the voodoo idol.
I'm in two minds because whoa. Yeah. Sorry, I'm in two minds with the idol. If I hadn't been such a muppet at that challenge, which I legitimately thought I was actually going to be fucking good at, like, one thing I had going in was some strength. I thought I could hold a bucket above my head for longer than some of these people, but clearly I couldn't.
I gave you a bit of shit about that as well.
I did, well deserved. It was a pathetic performance. But if I could have made it to that box, I would have dropped out there because I knew I wasn't going to win the whole thing, and I'd definitely take the advantage. Or whatever it's going to be, who knows. Yeah. So if I had the voodoo idol in that scenario, I could have done wonderful things. I could have played it on Max and redirected his votes to Caitlin, and then they were on John and Caitlin, and we can take control of the game. And so it would have been an incredible advantage. But I didn't go that way. It's incredibly overpowered and stupid and should never be played in Survivor again. But the one thing I have for it is you play a lot of what ifs after these games. Yes. Anyone who's played these games, you play a lot of ifs. And all of my what ifs, my choose your own adventure what ifs, all end at Caitlin has the voodoo idol and there's nothing I can do to save myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has always given me some comfort in that there's nothing I played wrong because I was always going to unless I had the voodoo idol, unless I did better at that challenge, I was always going to come across a Caitlin who was going to want me out. and that was
Yes.
clearly her objective. So
Yeah.
the voodoo idol was always going to fuck me in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
And
I
we
just
see your
point
face.
out that even without the voodoo idol, you had the votes?
Yeah, what I'm saying, I did. What I'm saying in the scenario where I had the voodoo idol, I can say Max. But
yeah, it's true.
what I'm saying is, obviously I was gone no matter what. But but if you say, oh, what if I did this or what if I did that? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like whatever I did, even if I got it, so there was 1 vote Brady and 8 votes CK and 1 vote Brady, or 8 votes Brady, 1 vote CK. Caitlin playing the voodoo idol takes me out no matter what.
Yeah. For sure.
Adam says, would you have known the votes were going on Max to redirect them? Yes, I would, because if you watch the bit with being Kate last week,
we did say you did say that you thought it was going to be Max.
Yeah, like when I believed that Kate was telling me the truth that I wasn't copying votes. Do I have that same conversation with her if I got the advantage from the challenge? Potentially not. She may not be as upfront. But she was being pretty genuine in that chat because she was trying to tell me it was Dale, and I'm like, it's not Dale. And then she's like, it's not you, okay? And I'm like, all right. But I would have also guessed they play Max. Who are my ideal F3?
I know. Are they like is Max and Annabelle your final 3, or would you have dropped them eventually?
I would have gone to the end with them and lost to Annabelle. It's an LRG, and I made a pretty great connection with both of them, so I'm not going to burn them for the sake of a pride game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I could have beaten Max, but I don't know if I would have beaten Annabelle.
Yeah, she wouldn't let you talk. That's the only issue. Like it'd be your turn to give your speech, and then she'd just keep talking. So
That'd be pretty. Like that'd be a.
And then everyone would keep cutting off for Max like we do on the podcast. You can see what their terrible counts would be like. Annabelle, Max, and I did go to the final 4 of one of Praddy's minis once, but Annabelle self-sacrificed herself at final 4 on the condition that I'd take Max and burn Scott, first boot of this, who was also in our final 4, if I won the final challenge, which I did, and I beat Max 4-3. But she voted for Max. She justifies it because she was sleeping with him at the time, but I still think it's
a pretty good reason.
Oh no, this is a nuclear scenario that Luca brings up. Is that for some reason Caitlin plays it for you, redirects into Brady, Brady plays his idol, and then Caitlin goes to the jury with 1 vote.
It would have been incredible.
Oh.
So that was that.
My job was already on the floor with this tribal council, like not like just with the double of it all. And then like if this happened, I would have just been dead. If
she had done that, we all talked about, we realized that, and we're like, oh my god, that would have been horrible for her. But just
she would have had no clue.
Incredible. And you can see her face when the vote comes up for her. She's like, am I getting played on this whole tribal? And there's no way she would have guessed that vote came from Laurel.
No.
The thing. And I think you have to ask her when she comes on, but I think she just wanted to cause some more chaos. I don't think there was a deliberate attempt to try and make that happen. That would have been just absolute unintended consequence of Laurel's
I asked her about it on Saturday, what the reasoning was. I don't think she really knows. I think she just wanted to create some drama. All she knew was she was going to deny it. I think it was just typical Laurel causing chaos.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's not even jury management saying that she wouldn't vote for me or she wanted to keep me in the game, because she could have just voted for Brady, but she was just absolutely against voting in any way that was considered boring in her own mind.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely here for that.
I
love good content.
I was devastated when she destroyed my alliance with Annabelle and removed her from the game. Particularly as Annabelle brought an assortment of wonderful outfits to wear on the jury.
I know.
We were robbed of that.
Well, here's something to look forward to. On one of the tribal councils, it may be the next one, I wear one of the dresses in testament.
Yes! I can't wait.
It does not look as good on me as it would have looked on her.
I'm sure you look fabulous.
But I once I was voted out, I'm like, okay, I'll wear one of your dresses if you don't mind me like potentially stretching it a little bit around the stomach. And I'll wear that to the next jury. So one of the outfits survives. There you go.
I love it.
And so, like, going back on your game, like, do you wish you'd thrown to go to travel sooner? Like, do you at any point, like, where would you change it? Like, what's the biggest thing you'd change besides the fact that you're balls to the wall?
So question one, what would have happened if we go to tribal council in the first 2 votes should have thrown then? That has been talked about at a lot of length between everyone that was on OG Yellow.
Yeah.
The conclusion is Chloe probably goes. The Laurel wanted to vote me out, and would have been able to get Rosie to do it. But Brady and Chloe were quite keen to vote out Annabelle, and they weren't really willing to vote me because Brady sort of had a thing going with me. So there would have been a clash there of numbers, whereas myself, Max, and Annabelle would have been targeting Chloe, and it would have been easier then for the others to get on board. Maybe if Ma was willing to do me, there could have been a push, and I never really know, but Ma stands by. She wouldn't have voted for me on that first tribal, and I said that a few times. So it's probably Chloe. The more interesting one is if we go once we've swapped. Now, had anyone but Annabelle gone first, I would have thrown every single challenge. Max and I both would have thrown them all. We would.
Okay.
If we were in those crates and we were saving Annabelle, we would have been falling over left, right, and centre.
Yeah,
I did wonder about that.
Instead of Dale, we're just missing left, right. We would have been thrown. But Rosie, I had nothing with, and Mara, I was never sure about. And one of them had clearly flipped on Annabelle. So I'm like, well, with Laurel. So I was like, well, why am I saving any of these people?
Yeah.
Now, what we were doing at Red, though, was an excellent strategy of gaslighting the hell out of Tash with the intent to vote Dale. So we were making Dale feel like he was our best friend. He's in with us. Let's bring this guy in, and Kate, I like Kate. Yeah, Annabelle, me, this whole thing. And Tash, we're not talking to you. Like, as she's mentioned the thing. They're not even talking. Like, we're talking
she's flipping you off right now, just so you know. She's flipping you off.
Socially. And,
I can see her. She's flipping you off.
We wanted her to think that she was on the outs, which she clearly did. And I know there's been some discussions here from Chloe's confessionals and what she's been saying in the chat, that for her, she wanted to keep the girls, but still it makes the most sense for her and Brady to still go with the plan we've been setting up for 3 weeks, because it keeps the girls, it just gets rid of Dale, right? So then Chloe's got all the options in the world. I can't see Chloe and Brady going against that plan that we set up. So it would have been an amazing tribal council where Kate plays her idol, Tash plays the rock idol, they vote for me probably, and then boom, 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 4 votes Dale goes home.
Yeah, right.
So would have been an amazing tribal council. We had that plan perfectly locked in. And so then when we hit merge, I pivoted the gaslight Dale into thinking I want to be his friend so I can vote him out, to try and actually be Dale's friend, because now I need his number.
Now you need him.
But I've been putting like hours of work into building this fake relationship. So I was like, whatever, I just pivot this right over. Then I had to start putting some work into Tash, which I socially, which I think had gone okay. I think she despised me a lot less by the time we got to this tribal. We did have a lot in common, which I think was probably annoying her even more from the gaslighting, because she's originally from Adelaide. It lives in Melbourne, but she was from Adelaide as well. And the musician thing, we're both musicians. So there was for the fact that I was just giving her, I think probably was just pissing her off even more. And suddenly we get to merge, and I'm all like, oh, let's talk about Adelaide and music and stuff.
And we see as well at merge where with your yellow alliance, where you're the one trying to pull the number, whereas I think the 3 of us had discussed that if it was potentially Brady who was trying to pull someone over, it might have worked, because at this point, I think you're just seen as such a big player who's maybe a bit more forceful. I mean, we see you and Max cornering, I think, Caitlin with Kate there. I think it was late at night. Yeah.
I told you, I feel like, read the room, CK, because at this point I was like, girl, it's so uncomfortable.
It wasn't great gameplay.
Well,
it was good TV. And that's what I
Great
was there.
TV.
Good
Great
Yeah.
TV.
It was.
Look, you got the edit you were after. Like, you got the edit you came in to give.
When I did my interview, I told Vince and JP and Liz that I would be a villain and I would try and be like one of the bigger villains that LRG's had seen. I don't think I quite got to the standard I wanted to get to, but I think I delivered on the villain edit that I promised them.
I agree.
I think you delivered. I think you did.
You gave us content, which is all we care about.
For sure. I'm going to hide you. We're going to talk about Tasha's vote. Bring Tash in, and then we're going to have everybody all together. All right.
Let's do it.
So let's
make it a party.
Hide you. All right. Tash, I'll be with you in a second. We're going to talk about. All right. So CK is gone.
Yeah.
Right,
voted
CK's
out.
gone. He's
One thing
voted
we
out.
didn't really talk about is that Brady stood up to play his idol, and Caitlin beat him to it. So, I want to know who saw him do that, who suspected.
Well, the only one I see clock him is John. John literally looks at him, sits forward and tries to make eye contact with him, hold on. So I feel like, I wrote this. I was like, I feel like John is the only one who clocks it. We also see the reading of the votes. Chloe being quite savage and telling CK which vote was hers. She was like, mine's the one with a love heart. I really enjoyed that. That was hilarious. And then just CK's head just drops the minute that Caitlin's like, yep, it's going on Chris. He knows. He's done.
He knows, yeah. Max standing up when CK is getting voted out.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Romance. Bless them.
Like, why is Max standing up? But yeah. What are you doing?
All right. And then we get double tribal. All right, we're going straight into a vote. Challenge immunity does not count. So at this point,
and there's no immunity.
I don't know how I feel about no immunity.
Kate has to give immunity up
because that's the thing with Survivor is that if your social gameplay is not there, if your alliances aren't there, you always have a way to get through to the next stage of the game, and that's by winning immunity. And it wasn't up for grabs, so I was a little disappointed with that.
I was annoyed at that, especially for someone like Tash. She knew that her name was out there. She knew that people were talking about her. With a surprise tribal, anything can happen. I think she is someone that if this was a tribal in an hour's time, like a normal one, she would have been able to talk her way out of it. I don't think she could have done that here. So the one thing she had left was to win immunity. And it's hard that there's no immunity there. I was expecting some sort of trivia contest or something at tribal.
Yeah, I was even thinking if you don't want people to talk, you could potentially get them to go vote for who you think you should have immunity as well. I don't know. That's just a random thought I just had, but
the same people voting who's got immunity is not going to save anyone who needs saving.
That's true. There should have been an immunity challenge, in my opinion. But yeah.
But so everybody's up, and then my jaw was on the floor. I was like, "Holy shit!" I think I just messaged you guys "Wow!" and sent you a photo of my face,
Yeah,
we sent one back of us being everyone else at the watch party knew what was going to happen. There was the two of us and Sam, the only ones that didn't know what was going on, and we're just all like,
yeah, that was so left field.
Can I just also point out, CK was my original winner pick. When he was gone, I went, all right, my next winner pick is Tash. So apparently you don't want to be my winner pick.
You're just jinxing on everybody. All right, so Laurel wants to put 4 names down in her confessional. She was like, can I write 4 names?
No.
We see, and then obviously we have the vote, and then Brady plays his idol, which is smart because it would have been a tie.
Yes, it would have been a tie.
Because there was 3 for Brady, 3 for Tash, 2 for Chloe.
Yeah.
So it would have been a tie. They would have re-voted. And who do you think goes at that if there was a revote?
Brady.
Yeah. I feel like the 5 people who voted for Brady and Chloe were just wanting one of them. Right.
Yeah, because we got Laurel, Dale, Kate voted for Brady. Brady, Chloe, John voted for Tash. And Tash and Caitlin voted for Chloe.
Well, Tash is obviously changing her vote to Brady.
Yes. Well, she doesn't vote again.
Oh, she doesn't vote again. Sorry.
Her and Brady don't vote again.
So who was the other Chloe vote?
Caitlin.
So essentially it's Caitlin's call.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think Caitlin's voting for Tash.
Oh, but then Brady doesn't vote again, and his was a vote for Tash. So I think Brady goes.
Brady
yeah.
goes. Okay. Well done. So a well played idol.
Yes, a well played idol.
Let's bring in Tash, poor darling, screwed by a double tribal. Hello, thanks for joining us.
For having me. Do you like my? I
Very
decided to
she's in costume and everything.
I love it.
Very nice.
I was like scrambling trying to find it while you were interviewing CK. I found it in the bottom of my filing cabinet. So there you go.
Well, there you go. Filed away, ready.
Yeah.
Liz is saying you're the robbed legend. I agree. RobG.
I agree. Well,
Thanks, guys.
I think I had you at 5. Jules had you at 4.
No, I had you as a runner-up.
Right, I had your fallen angel then. So we always thought you would be robbed. At some point, we thought you would be robbed.
Thought you'd be robbed regardless.
Honestly, like it surprised me that you guys had me pegged so high because, like, when I look back at my video, like introductory video, and it's like, oh, you know, I'm loyal and I don't think I could turn on my friends. I'm like, what a shit fire! Like,
I see, and I wasn't basing any of that.
Myself so low.
I wasn't basing any of it on the words that were said. It was all about the vibe, and I got good vibes from you.
Yeah, I agree.
John is asking, did you bring your post-AZ vax sickness?
Oh my god! So I mean, I think I filled you guys in on the weekend, but you know how everyone like went to bed at like 8 p.m. in the Red Tribe on like the first night?
Yeah,
that was my fault. That was my fault, unfortunately. So it was like, you got to think back to like when vaccines like first came out. I work in healthcare, so I was like one of the first people that was allowed to get it. Well, I think maybe 3rd or 4th round, but anyway. Yeah. And then so I got the AstraZeneca like vaccine the day before Survivor, and that night, so I'm sitting in my house that night, I'm watching the presser, and it's just like, no women under 30 should have the AstraZeneca vaccine. And I'm just shitting myself. Like, I'm going to this scout camp tomorrow. They're taking away my phone. What if I have a blood clot and die in the middle of Survivor? And I was just having a full-blown like meltdown. Oh. And then we got to Survivor the next day, and like I had a bit of a headache, and they were going to take away our phones. And I was like, can I keep mine just until like we actually start the game, because my GP is about to call me and like go over the risks and blah, blah, blah. And so they let me keep my phone for a bit, which was pretty nice until I calmed down. But then it actually ended up being the best thing, not having my phone for the weekend, so I could stop Googling, you know, will I die?
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what you to Survivor? Like how did you end up there?
Yeah, so I actually got some sort of sponsored ad on Facebook, like back in.
I came across it too. Yeah,
it was back in January 2020, and it was just like, come play Survivor, and I was like, oh, they've been listening to me talk. I love this. And so I filled out the expressions of interest form, and then I got an email from Liz, and it was just like, oh, we've already filled all the spots for our trial at Mordialloc Beach, but if something becomes available, we'd love to have you. We're always looking for more women and all that sort of stuff. And so she ends up emailing me again like a couple weeks later, like just like maybe a couple days before the trial or something like that, and saying like, spots opened up, are you still keen to play? So I get on the train and I take the trip down to Mordialloc Beach. I know absolutely nobody. And people are like, what are you doing today? I'm like, just meeting a bunch of strangers on the beach at Mordialloc. And yeah, to play Survivor. And they're like, nerd. And I'm like, yeah.
We're all Survivor nerds here. It's fine.
Yeah. And so I had the absolute best day. I ended up being a power couple with Billy Stevens, shout out, and we went right to the final 3 and came equal second with 1 vote each. And we lost to the wonderful Blair, who's still a really, really good friend of mine. But he crushed it. You know, there was no beating someone who lost it was quite similar to playing with fire. They lost every challenge pre-merge, and then come merge, he sailed right to the end. And I was like, how do you compete with that kind of story, you know? So
Yeah.
go
Absolutely.
Blair. Yeah.
So Tash, it was all of us were just giving you props for your whole game because you did go to a few tribals and then you managed to get flipped to yellow, and then sort of sailed your way into merge without having to go to tribal. And then come merge, it's just absolute chaos. And then here you are, there's 10 people, everyone's got their own opinions, but you're pushing who you think is the best vote for you. And that's when we see you throw out Max's name. And you're really at the forefront of this game. Is that how you perceived yourself playing at this point?
I did. And I don't know if like looking back on it, I was a bit like, oh, you know, maybe that's a bit arrogant. You know, you don't really know what other people are thinking and what they're like. Maybe they have the same opinion as you, but they're letting you lead so that their threat target is lowered. And so I was like, yeah, I'm running this shit, you know. like maybe people were just letting me run this shit so that I would get voted out instead of them. So good for them. But like, I mean, we're skipping ahead to merge here. I've got some stuff to say about pre.
Let's go back.
Let's go back.
What do you want to start with? Like, you were started on the Red Tribe.
Well, yeah, I was on the Red Tribe, and you know, I saw that idol in the tree like as soon as we got to camp, and I had to knock it down, and I didn't want anyone to see. I wanted to keep it to myself.
You knocked it into the leaves.
I knocked it down. Yeah. No, not that one.
No,
sorry.
Sorry, idol. Sorry, yes, the tree idol. The clue for the rock idol.
The rock idol. Yes. Yeah. But I think because John and Caitlin really vibed, and I didn't have anyone, and then I knocked it down, and they're like, "Well, I suppose we'll align with Tash now." But yeah, looking back, you guys have said it quite a lot. I probably should have showed them the clue, but I thought my train of thought was if I show them the clue, then they can go and take the rock because they're certain about the rock being the idol. Whereas I was kind of like, because I don't have the idol in my hands, you know, I kind of wanted to keep my cards a little close to my chest so that I was the only one that knew for certain that the rock on the parchment was the idol. And so I was the only one who was going to have the balls to pick it up and play it. Whereas if they'd seen the clue, it was pretty easy to understand. I thought Brady didn't quite get there. But I thought it was pretty easy to understand that the rock at the voting booth was the idol. And I thought if John and Caitlin were as confident as I was, then they might play it at a time when I wasn't hoping to play it. But yeah, so that was some pre-merge stuff. And I mean, obviously we can go back as far as the Scott vote and clear a few things up if you want.
Whatever, yeah, let's talk into whatever you want.
I think
I mean, I think most people that's something to say.
I'll keep it really brief, in the sense that, like, obviously I didn't enjoy watching back his interview and hearing some of the things that he had to say, and how upset he still is 2 years on. In some ways, I can see where he's coming from. In other ways, it's just, as you said, like, you don't have many things to go on that early in the game for choosing to get rid of somebody. And I probably didn't articulate myself very well at the viewing party for the first episode, which is one of the things he was upset about. In that I said, you know, I made a joke like, let's just vote out the white straight male. You know, I made a bit of a joke because I thought 2 years on I could potentially make a joke about it. It didn't translate very well. And he was quite upset. And so, but Caitlin and I have talked about it at length as well. And she said at the end of the day, he didn't have the social currency to make it to the second round. He just didn't. And he's also articulated that as well, because he said that he, you know, in lying about his profession, that he struggled to make connections. And so
and we asked him, like, who were your people? Like, who, and he couldn't name anybody. Like, you cannot name anybody that is your person or people. How do you not expect the other one to go? Because you have no social capital.
So I think if you're looking at who was aligned right in that first vote and who had the majority, it's myself, it's Caitlin, it's John, it's Kate, right? And, you know, we pretty much, like, Dale's happy to jump on board with the majority, and so are like Marina, Ash, and I'm missing someone. Am I missing someone?
Ash.
I said Ash. Anyway.
Marina.
Yeah. So basically, everyone's happy to go with a majority vote in that first round. So you're looking at but those core four of Kate, Caitlin, John, and myself were we were making the decision.
Yeah.
And we're looking at, okay, who we're not feeling the vibes with, and at that point, it's Ash, it's Scott, and it's Marina and Dale. And so we're like, well, we don't want to vote out of a female first. We don't want to vote out a person of color first. Mm-hmm. And that leaves us with Scott and Dale. And we just made a choice, and
Dale has the idol.
Dale has an idol.
Yeah. He told everyone about it.
And you kind of want to scare Dale into playing the idol, to flash it. But he did it anyway. So we vote out Scott. And so it wasn't solely a political vote, which is what I think he's holding on to.
Yes.
But it was more so, okay, yes, we don't want to take out a minority group, but who else do we not have a relationship with that we're willing to target? So
there's a massive difference between targeting someone because they're a straight white male versus it's 50-50 between these two people. That can be the deciding factor.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Rosie touched on it in her podcast interview as well. At the end of the day, I know it's a game and I know it's strategy, and every vote from then, I didn't think in a political way about, how I was going to be perceived to the public. But you do have to think about that, especially at the beginning when you don't have really a good reason to vote out anybody. This is going to come out on YouTube. When I played in Mordial, it was that day there, done, dusted, and only the people who were there that day could shape an opinion of you based on what you did. But this is about to come out on YouTube. There's an episode every week. It's going to stay on YouTube so people can come back and watch it. You are going to affect your reputation as a person by the choices that you make on the game. Unless you decide to somehow run a marketing campaign afterwards to go, this is who I really am.
Yeah.
I'm just my character.
I think at the end of the day, people need to remember this is a game and it's very fast paced. You're not necessarily thinking how you would think if, in your real life, chatting with people and making those connections. And you're just trying to stay afloat. And people get voted out, and that's just how it is. So,
and we also only see a small portion. So you guys know what happened on the day, but we're only seeing a certain. So yes, we have this forum of everyone to say how they feel, but it's also your side versus somebody else's side versus a third party side. It's we weren't there, we don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
See what the edit shows us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think at the end of the day, you want to play the game you want to play, but you're also trying to be a good person and not perpetuate this habit in society to target minority groups. And you just, I don't know, just try to be a good person. So
I don't think we've ever doubted that you are a good person from the edit that you've shown us. So we all rate you. We all thought you were playing a fabulous game. And then we get to the swap. And then you are faced with the likes of CK.
I got school picked last at this.
Yeah, darling.
We were raging about that.
We were.
I was so upset. I was like, oh, come on. I'm a good physical competitor. I'll be a good value to your team.
Well, you smashed it, that challenge.
I did.
Right after, you were like, bing, 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 bing.
Oh, yeah, you're two-handed throwing and catching. I was just like,
yeah.
Well, I've played every sport known to man. I'm still playing netball every week and all this stuff. I don't know where my throwing skills were in that last immunity challenge, but in that challenge,
is very different to a netball. As a netballer, it's a very different type of throw. It's a big difference.
Well, wasn't throw a beanbag like this?
What was I throwing in that first one?
Tennis balls.
Oh, okay. All right.
So again, it's a different type of throw, but it's the same movement. Whereas a beanbag is kind of a toss.
I know, but what can you do? But yeah, the swap was mental, and honestly, oh my god, being on Yellow Tribe and every Yellow member ignoring you completely drove me fucking insane. Like, it drove me mental. Like, and to
that was
find
pretty
out,
deliberate from CK, as he just told us before. That was a deliberate move.
I know. So I didn't know. Obviously I didn't find that out until I like got voted out, and I went to Ponderosa with Max and CK. And CK, like, he's just like, right, this is what we were doing. And I was like, I just listened to him while he vented about the game he really wanted to play. I actually really felt for CK and Max in that they had all these big plans and they never got to really execute them. And I do feel for them because, you know, I mean, I've played games of Survivor between Mordialloc and now where like you get out first or second and you're just like crushed because you didn't get to execute any of the strategy you had coming in. So I do feel for them in that sense. And I understand why they felt the need to go, this is what we were going to do. Like, we had such amazing things planned, and just let them have that space to talk about it. But yeah, I think it's an incredible strategy because they had me. Like, they had me convinced that I was going to have to play the Rock Idol, and I 100% would have if we'd gone to Tribal
absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have too. I would have been like, fuck this.
Not to. Yeah.
Save myself.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to say, we talked a lot about whether Kate may have like played her idol for Ma at that final Tribal merge. And it wasn't until after the game ended that I went, I think I asked Liz and that, I was just like, could I have run to the voting booth, grabbed the rock and run back and played it for Ma? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, shit, why did I do that? I mean, no, because I didn't have a relationship with Ma, but it's nice to know. Like, I didn't even think that was an option. But
yeah,
I wouldn't have thought that was an option either. Like, until.
Well, I think if I'd run to get the rock and handed it to her so she could play it, then
right.
Yeah.
I also feel like in that moment you don't have a relationship with Ma, and then some random person's giving you a
relationship with Ma.
Like, you're like,
yeah, and I didn't want to.
Why are you handing me a rock?
Have my pet rock.
Yeah. What am I doing with this? This is so dumb.
It's just like a soothing rock. You can.
Yeah.
But no, because at that point I was I knew Merge was around the corner, and I was looking forward to being back with Caitlin and John, and I have a pre-existing relationship with Laurel, so I thought maybe that might come into play from Merge, considering that Laurel had aligned herself with my two closest allies pre-swap.
Yeah.
So
Liz, you're absolutely gonna regret this. Come like an all-star season, you're gonna play all the rules, because if you've said that, it's open forum, babe. We are
ask for forgiveness, not permission. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's a good motto.
Yeah, if you don't tell me I can't, then I will. Good to know.
Yeah.
But then you don't have to go to tribal, so you get to sit pretty. So what on your thumbs, or what was happening back at camp?
I mean, I was just talking to Kate. Like, I don't remember talking to Dale that much either, because Yellow was so focused on bringing Dale into the fold that I barely got to my 2 cents with Dale, and I had all these really like surface level conversations with everybody else about life, but nothing about the game. And I was just like,
right.
I literally, my hands felt so tired, and like, I'm a very vocal person, I'm a very chatty person, like, and I felt like I couldn't say a thing. I felt like it was almost like, is it Boston Rob who instigates like the partner
buddy system?
Yeah, the buddy system. It felt like that. Like, I felt like I couldn't take anyone away, or CK would be like,
I can totally see that. Yeah,
I felt like I wasn't allowed alone time with any Yellow OG. So yeah, it was a like, it looks like I had a cozy half of the day. I had a shit half of the day. Yeah, it really sucked. And that's why when you see like post merge, John and I go off for a bit and we're just jumping like, yes, we made it. Like, I was so excited to be back with people that would talk to me and work with
people you could work with, for sure.
It was a hard half of the day. Yeah.
And now take us through, now that we've merged and the numbers are pretty split. It seems to be a bit of a 5-5 split with OG Red plus Laurel and then OG Yellow plus Dale. Did you have strategy going into this first vote? I mean, you said Max's name. You're sort of the first one to sort of instigate that. But what was your thought process? What was your overall strategy and ideas, and what were you trying to do?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me was breaking up power couples, because, I mean, that's just 2 guaranteed votes, and I'd just rather everyone was playing individually, to be honest. So I was just like, because, I mean, even though I seem really tight with Kate, CK's right in that she is like so difficult to read. Like, I would say throughout the whole game, she was my number 1. But even then, I had this like significant doubt that she would stick with me, because the way she acted with me is the way she acted with everybody. And, you know, even though she didn't vote with CK in that first post-merge vote, like, he's like, she still talked to him like, yeah, but, you know, we'll make something, you know, like, I don't know. And he was convinced that they had potential bond to work together. And, you know, she was the same with me. And it wasn't until she voted that I was like, yeah, okay, she's still with me. Like, she was really hard to read, and potentially one of the best players I've ever seen play in that sense, because her social game was so good. And there was something about her that just made you want her to like you. Like, I think I speak for most people in the game, and that they wanted to work with Kate. Like, I'm not sure I know anyone who didn't.
Yeah, well, she seems very in demand.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, so in terms of my strategy going into that first vote, it was 100% to disarm CK, but I thought going for CK was far too obvious. So yeah, I dropped the Max name, and it picked up traction. And the other thing was, you know, Brady had come to me and said, my game is in your hands. Now, that's been the topic of a lot of discussion, in that I never took him seriously.
Right.
Because he had ignored me for 6 hours, you know, and then he comes to me, and the first proper conversation we have is, my game's in your hands. I'm like, how the heck did that happen? Like, why is your game dependent on me? Like, we haven't had a single like conversation up until this point. You've built no social foundation with me whatsoever, and you've had an entire day to do so.
Yeah.
Why would I trust him? I mean, in hindsight, like, you know, if you take out the social aspect of the game and you just look at it from a numbers point of view, yeah, it makes sense for Kate and I to pair up with Brady and Chloe, and maybe take out, you know, one of Laurel, Caitlin, and John, or something like that, or take out CK and Max as a group to like form a trust. But like, when you can't take the social aspect out. Sorry, my dog's whining. You can't take the social aspect out of the game. You have to keep it in there. And so when you take that into consideration, I had no reason to trust Brady at that point. I'm just letting my there we go.
No, that's good. Especially because at this point everything starts to happen so quickly. From merge, it just like rambles, and you've been able to sit out of things for so long, and then suddenly the game heats up. You're like, yeah, I'm back with my people. You give me the time of day. Why on earth would I do this when I have people over here and it's so hard to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, it's tricky. And I think I was probably just salty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, of course.
About being ignored all day. I was like, no. No, you're next on my hit list, man. I'm not teaming up with you. So yeah.
Oh, for sure.
He's just said we spent a long time talking at the challenge. Yeah, he's right. We did speak at the challenge, but I didn't remember that we spoke at the challenge until I saw it on Saturday night. Like, I think Laurel said it earlier in the challenge, earlier in the podcast chat. I didn't remember that challenge at all. Like, I was watching it with fresh eyes, just being like, I just don't remember doing this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think because I didn't even make it past the first stage. But...
yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh yeah, But everyone's got these incredible memories about playing with fire, and for me, it's just like a blank slate. I don't know.
2 years ago, like that.
It was 2 years ago.
Especially for you in the healthcare space, being in Melbourne, it would have been very intense for you.
Oh, it was crazy. After that point, pre that, obviously 2020 was mental, but things didn't slow down too much in 2021.
No.
Yeah. So lastly, and a few other things, but one thing I want to get into is your vote off tribal council. Obviously, CK goes, and there's a big hooray. The heroes did it. They got rid of a big villain.
Can I touch on that for a second? I didn't want CK to go.
Okay.
I
did not want CK to go. CK had come to me and, posed being a number, as he did with everybody. But I genuinely, I saw no real purpose in getting rid of CK at that point, having just disarmed him by taking out Max. I was just like, cool. My strategy was to disarm power couples. And I'm like, right, I've got rid of Max, so CK's on his own. That's fine. Maybe I can use him to now target Brady and Chloe, which is why he voted Brady with me and Kate.
Yeah.
I believe. I was kind of hoping, Caitlin had come to me and told me about the voodoo idol, so I knew about the voodoo idol, and I knew that she was going to play it on Brady to flip the votes to CK, but I knew that she was potentially weighing up the alternative. And I think I was just kind of hoping that she might do something different, and if she did, then I would be working with CK at that point and moving forward. That was my backup plan, but I also didn't want to tell Caitlin what to do, because at this point I've led the charge on a number of votes, and I wanted to not, accelerate my target too much, my threat, level too much.
Yeah.
So when Caitlin was just so set on getting out CK, I was like I kind of hope she'll change her mind, but I also just don't want to tell her what to do, because I already think that I've probably got a target on my back.
So in that what if scenario, right, we talked about how crazy it would have been had she played the idol for CK, put the votes on Brady. Brady plays his idol, Caitlin's gone, right? The video idol completely goes back on herself. That's it. Caitlin's gone. We're going straight to vote again. Is CK gone? Is Brady gone? Are you gone? Who? Because that's the three big targets still up for grabs in that secondary vote. Who goes?
Yeah, so I asked John about this just the other day, and I said, was it John? I don't know. I asked someone about it the other day, and I said, I think it was John. I said, do you still vote me out? If Caitlin shoots herself in the foot and goes home, do you still vote me out? And he said, hell no. He said, no. He's like, if Caitlin goes home, I need you at that point. And I was like,
that's the point. They want to split you up, right? Because that was why I targeted you. They want to split the two of you up.
The whole target was getting those three girls of me, Kate, and Caitlin. They had it in their minds that we were a type 3. I didn't actually see it that way. I knew that Kate and I were type, but I still saw Caitlin as a number for John and Laurel, but that we did have a relationship that I could potentially lean on, especially because she came to me about the voodoo idol. But I didn't see it as a 3. I didn't see it as Caitlin, Kate, and me. And I've talked at length with John about why he chose to target me, because it doesn't really come across in the episode, but I'm pretty sure this is John's move. It comes across like Laurel's move.
I've had this discussion with John too,
I think the seed of this move was planted by John, who, at the time it's like, God, what a betrayal. But I'm also like, what a cool move. As a Survivor fan, I'm like,
absolutely.
I love that John got me out. I really, really do. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, I'm so excited. I'm like,
who goes?
So I think, they came for me because obviously Kate had the idol, and I think they had a better relationship with Caitlin at that point because of everything they've been through together pre-merge. So
Caitlin's
I understand why they come for me. So Caitlin's gone. God, that's hard. My whole vision at that point is to break up Brady and Chloe.
Right. So Brady, because Brady's idol's been flushed, right? He's kept himself safe for one vote. Whereas Brady the next one.
Brady's going.
Yeah, because he would have already played it. So yeah, I think Brady goes home. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he gets the majority, especially with
And
CK
then
still in the game.
Brady's-
CK votes for Brady as well.
Yeah. So if if Brady goes home with that vote, then I see going forward myself working with CK and Kate. That's where I see the game going.
Oh, that was a power trio. I'd like to see.
Yeah, it's fun.
Laurel wants to probably keep working with CK, or at least keep him around potentially a little bit longer.
I think for another 1 or 2 votes, I could see Laurel doing that. I love these alternate universes.
Oh, all the what ifs are so good.
You could do it forever.
Yeah, forever.
Yeah.
I still do it. Like Sydney, like all the what ifs. The like, have we done this? Or that?
2 years on, we're still coming up with new ones because like there are certain people that I haven't seen in a while. Like I saw Chloe on Saturday night for the first time in 2 years, and we sat down and had the biggest debrief. Yeah. And like we just talked about, what had happened at Yellow and what would have happened had we worked together. And it's just like, like it's cool to get these new perspectives that I hadn't heard about, 2 years ago when we had the chat group going wild about all the other what ifs. But yeah, there's still some new ones popping up every day.
And then you get the people like us who haven't seen it. We're like, what did you think of this? With all the players that are involved, so it's fun.
Some fresh hot takes. But there is something that isn't apparent at that vote. And I do think had I had more time that I could have forced a 3-3 tie with myself and Chloe. In that Kate turns to me in that moment where Liz is like, we're going to go to a revote. And Kate turns to me and goes, and I'm like, yeah, let's do Brady. And then I get
you nod at somebody.
Yeah. And then I get up to the voting booth and I'm like, no, that's stupid. We can't do Brady. That's too obvious. And I changed my vote to to Chloe, the other one of the power couple. And then Caitlin has the same train of thought and votes Chloe, but unfortunately it's a 3-2-2 or something.
Yeah, 3-3.
Yeah, 3-3-2. Yeah,
3-3-2, but there's an idol. So, but it was almost a 3-3-2 in the sense that it would have been Chloe and myself. But I did ask some people on Saturday night, if it was a 3-3 tie between myself and Chloe, do I still go on the revote? And when we count the numbers, I still go. So whilst I regret not telling Kate to vote Chloe in that, whispering moment, because I hadn't thought of it yet, because I had 10 seconds to think of this plan.
Literally 10 seconds.
Not even. It's still, the outcome would have been the same.
Yeah. So just quickly, how did you feel about obviously the double elimination, but also immunity not being up for grabs?
Yeah, look, at the time I wasn't salty about it, but the entire crew was salty about it. So by the end of the day, I was also salty about it.
Before they said there was meant to be a challenge, but they ran out of time.
Yeah. So I was told that it was not planned to do that immediate revote, and that it was just we're running behind on time. We need to, catch up a bit. So let's just do a double vote. But I wasn't upset. Like I knew I'd played a game that I was proud of, and to be honest, the whole drive there, poor Adam drove me there, or I drove Adam, but either way, and I was just like so upset about all the vaccination stuff that I was like, I just don't even want to come anymore. Like I don't even want to do this. And so I'd gone into the weekend just really not giving a shit about how I played, not thinking about any strategy going into the game, just really not caring how it all went, to then having a fantastic time playing a game where I led, a few of the votes, and a game I could be really proud of. And so no, I like, as much as you can look back on it and go, it did kind of ruin my momentum. If I'd had a few minutes, maybe I could have done something with that vote. Yeah. But also I give absolute credit to the fact that John had the forethought to plan more than one vote in advance, and I did not. So I did not plan that, okay, if there's a double elimination or, you know, we don't have much time to plan the next one, who's next? We had not had that conversation. We had not discussed targeting maybe Chloe instead of Brady or anyone else that, you know, didn't win immunity. And so I give absolute credit to the fact that John, Laurel, Chloe, Brady had the forethought to plan more than one vote in advance, and I didn't. So, you know, I think the right people stayed in the game at that point because that was my error.
Is there anything else that you want to
before we bring CK back in?
Yeah, before we bring CK, is there anything else you want to say about your game or anything that wasn't shown or anything like that?
I just don't have the memory to to bring up anything that's not on the episodes because I just straight up I'm watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
So not at all. I think.
Awesome. Well, we all enjoyed watching you play throughout the whole thing, and yeah, we thought you played a great game. So good job.
I loved it.
Definitely seems a consensus, even from the host himself.
Just quickly before CK comes back, would you play again another LRG? Or All Stars Melbourne, or
I do have something to say.
Go, Tash.
I'm disappointed that we didn't sleep in the rain.
Oh, you wanted the experience.
I slept like shit on that cement floor. Like it was. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the light was on almost like until really late.
Like from all the footage, it was on.
The light was on until really late, and that James Pearson, who's commenting and like congratulate, that's my partner. He's absolutely
what a legend.
Number one fan.
He's absolutely just cheering me on. I think I went in the game to play Survivor, and I went in the game to play Survivor the right way, and I'm actually disappointed we didn't sleep out in the rain under some tarp.
So am I. I said that earlier. I said, why the fuck? You know, play Survivor for the challenge.
Yeah,
that's why
I will never eat anything disgusting. I will not. I will bow out of that challenge because I will throw up immediately. I genuinely will. But I'll sleep in the rain. No worries.
Right. Love that.
All right, CK, you ready?
Bring the man back on.
Yay!
I'm back. Oh, I'm in the middle. Yeah, perfect. It's where I should be. I like this alternate reality where I survived these two votes and are now with Tash and Kate in the final 7 because I am in an amazing spot right there. Because everyone's going to look at me and go, this guy's a shield, but he's not really a shield. He's just a big douchebag that no one's going to vote for at the end. So off I go to the final tribal council and that's I've had that experience in an org now where you sort of become this hate goat that like no one's going to vote for. Even if you play a big game, everyone hates you anyway, so you're not going to get votes. That's my reality in that scenario. Me, Kate, and Tash sitting out there and me getting 0 votes.
That's an alliance I want to see.
Yeah, I'd love to see that power.
I would have loved that.
I get 0 votes. Oh no, I get 1 vote. Max would vote with me.
Yeah, you get Max's vote.
Max would absolutely vote for you. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm getting.
I don't see myself taking Kate to final 3 though. Because at that point we've been together for the entire game and I've made that mistake once and I will not make it twice.
There you go.
I've heard it said, and there's been a bit of talk here about, catching up with other members of the cast and whatever. Lots of play these LRGs and people build bonds out of it. The cast from playing with fire is particularly close. Like not everyone's close with everyone, obviously, but there's a lot of bonds and connections amongst this group, and everyone's generally very positive. What's very special to me, very very special to me, is when people come to my gigs, and this has always been very special to me because I used to play like an original band where no one would come to your gigs. So, when your 5 friends you're berated to come to your original band, that was pretty special. But even when I was playing I played at the SB in St. Kilda to like 400 people. And obviously I sent a message out to the whole cast, come to my gig at the SB in St. Kilda. And I didn't care there's 400 people there. I cared about who came to see me that I knew from Melbourne. So John and Tash and Ma came to that gig, which was pretty special. And I was very keen to get Tash's feedback. She's an amazing musician. And Annabelle and Max were coming to my gig the next night in Geelong. So
Yeah, they
that's
did.
why they weren't there. So those 5, obviously Annabelle and Max. But there's other 3, John and Tash and Ma, are very special to me. And I know Tash had a gig very soon after the Melbourne Survivor, and a whole bunch of them went.
Yeah. And I gave them a shout out. I think it was my first gig post like COVID, and there was a whole group of them up the back, but I also had like my work group, my family, like I had these different kind of social networks that all, showed up for my, return to performing. And I called everyone out, and I think people got a bit upset because I pointed to the Survivor group and I go, my nerds are here. And they were like, nerds? And I was like, I mean, come on.
No, nerdy bunch.
Yeah, I did.
And
yeah, Lucas.
I want to share a photo with the you're not in this photo, sorry, Tash. But with
That's
the
okay.
I apparently have all my admin privileges here from my usual hosting, so I can just do what I want.
And she's like commenting as us and everything.
Yeah. So this is a photo taken of all the cast from Melbourne that was helping out at Melbourne 4, Uncharted Waters, and I think it's a very lovely photo of us all. I'm going to share it. Hang on. And it's this one, share, and then we go like this. Like this.
Ooh.
There we go.
There we go.
Aww.
Oh, that's great.
The crew.
And as you
They
can
were a
see,
brilliant
7
crew.
OG,
Brilliant
7
crew.
OG yellows, because OG yellow is what it's all about.
And John.
And John and Ash.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah,
Great
it's something
crew.
that
Very
you guys
good
would like
crew.
that.
And that's another great thing about the LRG community is building those bonds with people that you play with and vote out, and they vote you out. And, hopefully you can all have a drink and build relationships and get even closer. And then hopefully create the same experience for people moving forward and make it even better. That's the goal. So that's awesome. I'm great to see that so many of you guys were there to help out and, invest your time back into the game that gave you guys the opportunity to play. So that's awesome.
Well, ask Tash. I forgot to ask her.
I did not help out.
Tash, it's okay. Don't.
So, right, Tash, I've already signed you up to podcast about it because you're not spoiled.
That's true. I would actually love to do that.
You and
Are you
Ethan
not
can podcast.
There you go,
Melbourne
done.
Are you not spoiled for Melbourne 4 at all?
No, I
Tash.
have not been
beautiful.
spoiled before.
Hey, Ethan, they're perfect. You two can post the next pod together. That'd be
I don't know
fabulous.
about Tash. I don't know.
Oh,
God.
Just joking. It's a joke. It's a joke.
This is because I called him all Saturday night. I called him a baby.
Very nice.
He
All
is a
Saturday-
baby.
All Saturday
How
night, I was like, "Oh, he's just a baby."
He's a baby.
Tash,
He
you
was
could
even bigger
podcast
baby
with
when we
Ethan
played
and Scott,
Sydney. Bless
maybe.
him. He was so baby.
Yeah.
I going back to, I asked Tash how she came across Melbourne. How did you come across Melbourne, CK? Like, how did you come across the LRG world?
I saw an episode of, Facebook's always listening and sending you insightful ideas of things you might enjoy. And Backyard, an episode, Backyard Season 2 came on my Facebook stream. And I watched that. And I then was determining whether I should apply for Backyard or Melbourne because I knew I was definitely getting on to whichever one I applied for. And so I was very discerning in my choices. And the Backyard 3 is not my favorite LRG. Like Backyard 2 is actually one of the best that's ever been made, and Backyard 4 is the best that's been made. So, but Backyard 2 was sort of like in a backyard, but they were very big yards, and there was like a river, so it was like more in the country. And Backyard 3 went back to the roots and was actually in a backyard, and I just wasn't interested in playing this in a backyard. Now, since then, Backyard has broken that, and they've moved on to hiring a campsite like Melbourne did. But that's what I wasn't going to play in a backyard. I wanted that full Survivor experience. I wanted to be in the wilderness. I wanted it to be raining. I didn't want there to be any comforts around. And like Tash was saying, we wanted to be rained on. So that was my choice. I looked at Melbourne 2. I looked at Backyard 3. And I'm like, if it's going to be like this, I don't really want to be in a backyard. I want to be out in the wild. So that's why I applied for Melbourne over Backyard at that time. Backyard now has since obviously decided that it's best when it's in the wild outdoors as well, as I think And you know, first starting up, that's what you got to do because it's hard to make the big production and get everyone out there, get all your crew out there. It's difficult. So I understand why they made this decision. That's just why I made that decision originally. And I was standing, I stand a couple of people from Melbourne too hard, particularly Tara and Calvin, the villains of season 2. You know, I try to follow in their footsteps. Tara was more diabolical. Calvin was just the guy everyone hated. So I probably ended up being more like Calvin than Tara. But, you know, like, I probably did one of
hybrid. You're a hybrid of the two.
I was standing Tara when she was like filming me. Oh, I don't do my karate again. Hang on. When I was like, Tara was filming me in Melbourne, I was standing there. I'm like, you're my favorite person on Melbourne too.
Oh, I love that.
Fangirling.
Did you fangirl anyone? Were you fangirling Adam as he filmed you?
Me?
Yeah.
No, Adam got me out in drunk fiver, so wasn't.
Oh, he was down.
We're mates. We're mates, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
But to be fair to Adam, I came for him, so he just won the battle.
It would have been awkward if Adam got put on the show, considering he drove up the whole way in the car.
Yeah, but we didn't talk about the game at all.
For those who don't know, Adam was a
we knew he was an alternate. So yeah. Plus, you know, I wasn't interested in pre-gaming. I think that's dodgy. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was just saying, it's really cool with the friends that you make, and it's not just the friends that you make. Like I said, Tash and Ma came to my gig, and my best friends from Melbourne. I'll be sure who your best friends are from Melbourne, Tash. Because Mars said really positive things about a relationship with you, and you guys never played together.
No, I didn't even meet Ma that day.
Yeah.
Like even afterwards, like I don't remember. Because did she stick around?
No, she didn't.
No. So I don't think I even met Ma at Playing with Fire, but I met her at all of the social events afterwards, and yeah, we're really good friends now. We're in trivia team together. So
yeah, she said that. Podcast last week.
With John and yeah, a few from Morty Alec as well.
Yeah, and my best friends from the game, besides Annabelle and Max, obviously, who, you know, we started the group chat, like 3 of us as soon as the show never stopped chatting in it. John, who obviously at the time of voting out, we were not the best of friends. All I'd done is stolen his banana, and he was not a fan. And Scott, I'm actually really good friends with Scott, who I obviously never met really on the thing as well. And I've gotten Scott like obsessed with orgs. So yeah, like it's sort of funny like that. And how you can make these. Oh, sorry, Chloe. Like I love you all. I'm just talking about the people I hang out like with on a regular basis, you know. And you know,
I'd love to hang out with Kate more. Like I haven't seen her since Playing with Fire. And Kate was like,
I was gonna say, did you see that she randomly liked something I posted in like the Playing with Fire group chat the other day? Like, no, I didn't even think she even like read that chat. And like, something that's like a little like,
these last 2 years, she's just been
just auditing,
just still being the cool Kate that she's always been. But yeah, God, I'd love to see her again. Obviously, we were tight in the game, but she's just such a cool person.
Yeah,
maybe she can make an appearance for the finale.
I'm coming to the finale. If anyone wants to come to the Melbourne finale, I will be there.
Ethan will be there.
No, I won't be there. I won't.
Oh no, you're not going anymore.
No,
that's why I came down this.
I'll be there.
I can't go to the finale.
You should come down for the finale, Dani. For the live finale. Then you do a live podcast.
I would love to. I just don't have disposable income to make that work. Unfortunately, if you want to pool funds and fly me down, by all means.
Yeah.
You can crash at my place like Ethan did.
Yeah, it's a very comfy spare bed. It was really good pillow. Just the little insight there.
And I want to say that all of you are doing an incredible job looking up. This is still the ORCA pod. You don't call it that, but this is.
I didn't know that I had the rights to call it the ORCA pod. I didn't want to assume.
This is the Playing with Fire podcast. There's so much fire that goes on.
Okay, well, next week I'll call us the honorary orcas. Fine.
And you're doing an amazing job. You're slaying this. You're doing a great coverage. Your takes on the swap and the voodoo idol are all 100% correct. Production can go to hell on that. And my favorite moment of the podcast, I think the whole time, has been Ethan's impression of me being an old man.
I said one thing and it was I misworded what.
No.
Don't fumble back now.
Yeah, CK's an old man with his sore knee and his.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that one. That one.
That
I
was
meant.
classic.
Yeah, that one. I was like, what is this guy? He can't hold something above his head. He can't run. He's sitting out of the challenge. Yeah, I was giving you a lot of shit for your challenge appearances. So.
Oh my god, that bucket challenge was wild. Like, I think it was Chloe and I. Our hands were so cold that we had to run off to the taps, turn on the hot water, and stand there for 5 minutes running our hands under hot water so we could stop the pain. That's why we dropped our buckets, because we were in so much pain. It was agonizing. We had to
gloves.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Seiko was the only one wearing gloves, and was it 6 a.m. that happened?
Yeah, and I had a confessional after that didn't get shown, where I was like, my personal trainer would be so disappointed in me. With that effort. When we talk about the challenges, you talked about Tash throwing the balls. She might not remember this because she doesn't remember anything that wasn't in the edit. But part of the reason, and of course I'm going to take credit for this because that's what I do, but part of the reason why Yellow won so many challenges is because I was pretty controlling surprise about what roles people had. Now, again, that is horrible.
I'm amazed.
Horrible. I couldn't believe they let Dale go on that fucking rope. As if he was going to get it.
We didn't know that it dipped as much as it did. We didn't know his height was going to come into play there.
Absurd decision. So I made sure that the people that had the right skills were on the right bits in the challenges. And I always made sure I was not in a hero role, but I was equally not I was in something that.
You were though. You were the caller for the hour-long rain challenge.
I was, but by that point I was like, they're not going to vote me out for losing the hero role at this point. They're just going to vote me out because they don't like me. But the point was on the ball throwing challenge, and yes, Tash absolutely should not have been the last selected. But she comes over to our tribe, and I'm like, this tribe is so stacked, and somehow we've lucked into Tash as number 7. This is absurd. And we get to the challenge, and we're like, who's going to throw the balls, right? And Dale's like, oh, I can throw the balls because, I'm a professional tennis player. And Max is like, I can throw the balls because I'm a jockey guy. But then we're like, oh, no, we need to match the heights of each person doing the balancing, because that's going to be a huge disadvantage if your heights aren't right. And we so therefore thought, well, Max and Dale should probably go together. And they're like, well, who's going to throw then of the girls, of the women? And Tash is like, I could maybe throw the balls. And I was like,
well, I didn't want to come on too strong, but I absolutely wanted to be the thrower.
Yeah, and I was like, can you throw the balls? And you're like, yeah, I think I can. I'm like, can you throw the balls? And she's like, yes, I can throw the balls.
I love.
And I'm like, good, you go throw the balls. And she can do it.
Don't say you can do it unless you can do it.
Yeah, all I want is confidence. And she's like, yes, I can do it. I'm like, go and do it. And she nailed it. It was unbelievable.
Nailed
say it again. Say it louder. I can do this. Tears screaming down my face.
Yeah, dad mode. Can you do it?
Do you remember that now that I've refreshed that memory, Tash, in your head? You remember
Yeah. It's all coming back to me. Don't say you can do it unless you can do it.
Yeah. And you did. It was. I was you blown away. There's no guarantee that a man or woman or anyone is going to be better at that. But you would have been better than anyone else. Those two-handed catching.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
boom. I watched
magnet.
it again. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I've played tennis, basketball, netball, just anything you can think of. So
yeah, I love it.
I was fingers crossed. Richmond's number 1.
What?
He's just your biggest fan.
Find someone that loves you the way James Pearson loves Tash, because
sorry, I'm just gonna he's been very sweet, but I'll throw him under the bus a little and say he hasn't actually watched the season.
Goodness, James, boo.
My wife is not a Survivor fan, and she's watched this whole damn LRG.
Great.
My mum finished it today. Well, she caught up to where we are now, and she sent a screenshot and was like, so proud of you, you played a great game. I was like, oh, sorry. Yeah, very cute.
All right, we've been running 2 hours. CK Tash, stick around. We'll chat quickly before we all go to bed. But thank you guys for tuning in. It was a big episode, big chats to have. We're back on Saturday. I don't know what time because it keeps changing, but we'll see you guys on Saturday for Melbourne Playing with Fire. You will see CK and Jules Thursday for Sydney. And we will grace your screens again next Tuesday. Bye all.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.